Good afternoon and welcome to a virtual field trip to an Ohio pig farm. I'm Jennifer Osterholt and I work for farmers all over Ohio. And we're excited that we can do this live video tour and show more about where your food, or today more specifically, where your pork comes from. So, of course, we want to begin and thank the groups that have made this possible. And some of those groups are Farm Credit Mid-America, Cargill, and the Ohio Soybean Council. I would like to thank all of the classrooms. We have 11 classrooms from around the state of, everyone's in Ohio, I believe. So 11 classrooms from around Ohio that get to visit with our special guest today. So I'd like to thank you all. And I'd like to thank Dan for the technical support that you provide to us, helping everybody get connected. Without further ado, let's meet our star of the day, our farmer, Lauren Schwab. So I need all of the students. Show me how you can clap. Put your hands together. Good job. So Lauren, can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing today and where you're at, please?
Yeah, so I grew up on my family's pig farm. Right now I'm in the pig barn where little piglets are born. My dad started our farm all by himself, and he discovered when he was a young boy that he loved taking care of the piglets. And so what we do on the farm is the piglets are born to the mothers, and we raise them until they're about 3 weeks old, and then they're big enough to be on their own, and they get to go on to another farmer nearby until they're ready for market. And so I spend my whole day feeding the mothers, taking care of the piglets, making sure they all get enough milk and are healthy and growing, and that they're warm and comfortable inside this barn. And so I'll show you the piglets mostly today. Let me switch around. And so here are some. I'll show you some more in a minute. There's just a few right here, but they were just born a couple of days ago. And this whole barn that I'm in, I'll show you around in a moment. There are all mothers that are ready to have their piglets soon, and they'll all give birth by this weekend. And so they have a mat to lay on. They have a heat lamp. However, it's been hot the past few days, and so we've been turning the heat lamps off for part of the day so the mother doesn't get too hot, because she's really big. And she's over here. She's centered in the middle of the pen. Maybe she'll say hi in a little bit. She's sleeping right now. But she's really big, and her piglets are off to the side so that they can come over and nurse whenever they want or lay on the mat whenever they want. And they stay protected so that the mother can see them all the time and doesn't accidentally step or lay on them. And so they stay protected and safe. This morning, I went through and I gave each mother, I have a sample here of some corn and soybeans. This is their food, all grounded up. I gave each one the amount they need in their feeder. Hopefully this is a clear picture. But she's number J14. Each mother has a number. And I gave her food and made sure that she was comfortable. And so to the rest of the day, she'll just spend her time sleeping and nursing her piglets. You have more questions?
We have had a couple. Our group in Cincinnati is sending in through the chat. How much does the mom pig weigh?
The mother pig can weigh anywhere from a few hundred pounds when she first becomes a mother up to around 500 pounds when she gets a little older and has had a few litters. This mother right here may be around 400 pounds. She's not too big. And this is her second litter, I believe. She has an ear tag. Let me see if she still has it. See how she has an ear tag and it has a number on it. And I can keep track of how old she is. And I'll take a walk while you ask another question, see if I can find another litter of pigs to show you.
Great. The question is there a runt from that's General Rosecrans, Ms. Trohan's class?
Yes, here's some other litter of piglets. Okay. So yes, there's always usually a runt on the litter, and that's one of my jobs, is when there are many piglets that are around the same age, I can put all the little runts on one mother together. Mother pigs are really nice in that they'll take on other piglets that aren't their own. And so I can put all the little runts on one mother, and then they'll be able to get enough milk and grow up big. It just takes them a little bit longer. And see, they can come over to nurse, like how this mama's laying out, that some of the piglets are sleeping right now. And this mother, she's waking up. She has, let me get a good picture of it, a drinking fountain. See? And when she can press down on that, the water comes out. So she can eat and drink whenever she wants and lay out to nurse her piglets.
We've got
They're getting hungry.
We've got lots of questions coming in, but I'd like to ask all of the students, let's get your hands ready, okay? We're going to do a quiz. Get your hands up in the air. So let's take a look at Lauren's baby pigs, the piglets. And let's guess on our fingers. First, guess how many pounds you think these pigs are. So does one piglet, do you think it's 1 pound? Do you think they're 10 pounds? Do you think they're somewhere in the middle? Let's see by a show of hands what your guesses are. Oh, I see some 10s. I see a 9. I see a lot of 10s. A 4. Some 10s. A 3. Oh, good. We've got lots of, a 1 pounder. Lots of people guessing. 3 pounds. 1 pound.
I can't see any of you because it's so dark.
We can tell there's a lot of hands in that room. So, Lauren, how many pounds is one piglet that we're looking at in that pin?
Yeah, they're about 3 pounds, I would say. They can be anywhere from 1 to 2 when they're born, but these are a few days old, so they're about 3 pounds, I'd say.
Great. So raise your hand. If you guessed 3, raise your hand right now. And Lauren and I are going to clap for you. Yay! You did a good job.
Yeah, some of them they're hungry. They don't want to share their food. Got 2 piglets fighting over here. But yeah, so we have a lot of pigs on the farm, and so it's my job to make sure I look at each and every piglet all day long. And so it's just my dad, my brother, and I, and we have 2 other employees, and they are my assistants on the farm. And so my dad and my brother have other jobs on the farm, like grinding all the corn and soybeans for the pigs to eat, and making sure that the barns stay comfortable, up to date, all the technology is working. I'll show you a few features of the barn. So there's a big fan on the wall, and it has a temperature control. And so this is what allows fresh air to always come in and out of the barn. And I'll turn around slowly. There's a feed cart and an auger in the corner. There's a big feed bin outside where the feed is stored. And then when we flip a switch, the feed will come in the barn, and I can put it in a feed cart. So I can easily go around and feed the mothers, scooping out the feed. And then here's a big stir fan, because it's been hot outside the past few days, that keeps the sows cooled off. And then there's some more air vents on the other side of the barn to let fresh air in. And then there's a big heater. So when it gets cool this fall, the barns will stay warm. So maybe a little hard to see, but so as you can see, they're really comfortable in here. When my dad first started the farm, all the pigs were outside. And in the summertime or the wintertime, the piglets didn't do good because they're so little. And piglets or pigs in general, they don't sweat. It's hard for them to stay cool, and they can easily overheat. And then they don't have a lot of hair or fat on them, and so they can easily get cold. So it's really important to keep them in a barn.
Great. So we've had a couple more questions come in. In a few minutes, we'll go through once Lauren shares a little bit more about what's happening in her day. We'll start with some of the questions in the chat, and then we'll ask for one student from each classroom to come up to the camera and look in the camera and ask Lauren a question if you would like. So if you teachers would like to identify that student, that will help save some time in a moment. But right now, Ms. Dorsey's class asked, how many piglets are in a litter on average?
Okay. On average, we like a mother to have 12 to 13 piglets, but sometimes they're born more or less. Sometimes the mother can have less than 10 pigs, and then I've had a mother the other day have 20 pigs, and so it's my job to try to have around 12 or 13 on each sow, which is another name for the mothers, the sows.
Great. Ms. Trohan's class asked, how many total pigs do you have on your farm?
Well, we have 2 farms, and they're near each other, 2 locations, and between that, there's around 1,200 of the mother pigs, but there's only about 120 of them that give birth to piglets at a time. So the rest have either weaned their piglets or they're pregnant and waiting to have their piglets. So right now, this weekend, around 120 of them will have piglets.
You led us right into the next question, also from General Rosecrans School. Is there a specific season that pigs have babies, or does it take place all year?
That's a good question. It takes place all year round, and that's because the pregnancy of a mother pig is short. My dad always says it's 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. So about that, and then piglet or mothers are designed after they have their piglets. A lot of times when they see the male, they'll come back into heat again, and so they'll have another litter shortly after.
Great. How old do the pigs live? So you've talked about you've got mother pigs. So why don't you talk about how old they are and how long they stay at your farm, and then how you work with other farmers to take care of them until market weight?
Yeah. So like I started out by saying, we raise the piglets until they're about 3 weeks old, and that's when they're big enough to stop nursing from their mother. They're already around 15 pounds then, and they're ready to stop nursing from their mother and eat regular pig food. A mother sow, when she first comes to our farm, we get the females, because since all of our piglets leave the farm, we buy our female pigs from another farmer. And they're about 6 to 7 months old when they come to our farm, and we may keep them up to around 5 years old if they're healthy and doing good. So as long as they're healthy and raising their piglets good, they'll stay on the farm.
Great. So you have baby pigs until they're done drinking milk, and when they transition to solid feed, they go to another family that raises them until market weight. And let's get our hands ready again. How many months old are they at market weight? When they're 270 pounds, how many months is that? Who's got some guesses? I see a 3. I see a 6. 5, 10. I see an 8. All right, Lauren, what's the answer?
6 is the answer.
Look at that. Lots of guesses, lots of hands. Good job to everybody that was listening closely and said 6 months.
Yep.
All right, we've got some more questions coming in. Do you ever pick up the pigs? If so, how do you pick them up? Lydia would like to know.
Yeah, I have to pick up the pigs all day long because, like I said, I have to make sure that each one is healthy and doing good, especially when they're first born. And so I can pick one up, kind of show you when they're little like this, I can just pick them up under their belly. And they're very light and easy to pick up and stuff. So it's pretty, that's what helps me, each of the litters of pigs being with their mother in their own pen, it really helps me keep track of them and to be able to pick them up easily and make sure they're healthy.
Great. Why do the pigs get numbers?
The pigs get numbers. Oh, go ahead.
I assume that's the ear tag that you showed us earlier. I assume that's the reference.
Yeah. Each of the mothers has an ear tag. And also, like I said, I'll show you, there is a number on her pen when she comes in to give birth. And that's so I can keep track of her. Since you can see all these piglets, they kind of look alike, and the mothers do too. And so we want to be able to tell how old she is, how many piglets she's had, when she had her piglets, and when she weaned her piglets. So it's important for us as farmers to keep track of everyone.
So you've talked about how your dad used to raise pigs outside, and there's been some benefits to bringing them into a barn that has a heater to keep them warm in the winter and fans and misters to keep them cool in the summer. Dan, do you mind showing us a picture of the outside of the barn? And you know, barns are a lot bigger, but than they used to be, and they look a little bit different. So we've got some pictures. Who are these people, Lauren?
That's my dad standing next to me and my younger brother, Ryan, on the other side of him. And so we're always out at the barn together all the time. My mom has a full-time job outside of the farm, but she helps out as well whenever she's home. Yeah, and this is the entrance to our farm. As you can see, there's a fence, and that way we make sure that our pigs are protected if anyone were to get out of the barn. And then also we have big feed bins, and that's where the corn is stored, that big one right on the outside. And this is the back side of the barn I am in right now. And it's one of our newer barns. As you can see, there's windows, there's big fans on the outside that bring in that fresh air. And so it's really nice outside, but this way they're protected.
Great. And then there's the little picture that talks about how quickly pigs grow. We've had another question come in from Sunbury. We'll take this question, then we'll go through and ask the schools that haven't had a chance to ask a question yet. We'll start with them to send up a student to the camera. But the question from Sunbury is, do you live on the farm or do you live in another location? I'm sorry, that question was from Cherry Valley.
Okay. Right now, I still live on the farm with my parents, and it's really nice because I can just walk outside and be at work, and if my dad ever needs me, I can be there. Someday I will move out, but I plan to live close. My brother lives on the other farm I was talking about, how we have another site, so he lives there to make sure that the pigs are okay all the time.
Great. All right, well, let's roll through the classrooms. We'll start with Ms. Kurna's class. Is that how you'd say it, Dan? Have you all asked a question yet?
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
Yep, sit down, guys. Sit down, except for Quincy. Stop.
How many types of pigs are there, and what type were the ones that you were just showing us?
Good question.
So the type of pigs that these are, so you can see how they're all white. And so all white pigs are either Yorkshire or landrace if they have the down facing ears. But their dad was a Duroc. And so he had down facing ears too. And so these mothers are really good for their nursing ability and raising piglets. And the father, Durocs, are good for meat quality, so they can go on to provide a good protein source.
Great. How about Hebron Elementary, Ms. Passwater's class? I see we have a question in the chat. How do the mommy pigs get in the feeders? And that's a good question. I know, Lauren, we see some bars and some things that it's hard to understand just on video.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to talk about that while you talk about how they get in the feeders, and then we'll see if they have a question live. We'll take that next.
Yeah, so right now this mom's laying down and nursing her pigs. I can maybe show you another mother that's standing up, but she can stand up, and here, I'll show you the inside. See how her head is right underneath that feeder? She can stand up and she can eat out of it. And she can drink from that drinking fountain, like I said, whenever she wants. And then she lays back down comfortably. And so she has plenty of room to stand up and stand down or sit down when she wants. And she's only in here for, like I said, the 3 weeks she's nursing these piglets. And then she'll leave this barn and have a different pen to herself.
All right. We're going to skip over Hebron. They've lost some video, but might be able to join back in. And Ms. Farazan's class from Rosecrans, do you guys have a question?
We sure do. Yeah, we do. Oh, hands down. Okay, we have our question person. How many times will they? How many? Third grade needs to sit down. Sorry, let's try again.
How many times will they give birth a year?
Good question.
Can you repeat that for me? I didn't quite hear it.
How many times do they give birth a year?
Oh, okay. A mother can typically give birth twice a year since her pregnancy isn't very long.
Is there a question from Mr. Ryan's class? And then Ms. Dorsey will be up next.
How much milk does it drink?
How much milk do the piggies drink?
Does the pig drink?
Yeah.
Pigs drink a lot of milk. As you can see, they're all here trying to nurse and get their milk. A lot of times, they'll go to the same nipple to get milk, or they know which one has more milk. And see, these two little piglets are trying to fight over the same one. So I can't measure exactly how much they drink since they're drinking off the mama, but they drink all the time.
All right. How about our next group? Ms. Dorsey?
Do you ever take the pigs out?
Yes. The pig, like I said, when this mother is done nursing her piglets, she'll get to leave, and she'll get to go walk to another barn where she can relax for a while, and until later when she becomes pregnant again. So whenever they're done nursing their piglets, they get to go to another barn, and later on during their pregnancy, they'll get to walk to another barn. They'll get to go to the other farm where my brother lives, and then they'll get to come back here again. So they're always in different barns.
How about Ms. Trohan's class?
Does it hold when the piglets drink the milk from its mom?
You say, does it hurt or?
Yeah.
Oh, Well, sometimes maybe a piglet can bite too hard on the mom, but otherwise the mother's fine and they just suck and get their milk.
Good questions. And I think we've got some questions coming in from Cincinnati on the chat, so we appreciate that. Princess has asked, do pigs play with their mom and dads?
Yes, the piglets sometimes do play with their mom. Most of the time they play with each other since they are the same size. But every once in a while I see the piglets climbing on top of the mother or trying to go by her face and talk to her or give their mom kisses. So, yes, they do play.
We have another good question from Cincinnati. Chimere asks, do baby pigs snort loud or softly? Can we hear it?
It's easier to hear the mother. The piglets aren't as loud. And right now, these are newborn piglets, so they're not very loud. But when they get older, they'll definitely snort at you, and you can hear it then.
All right, and now to Cherry Valley Elementary. Do you ever bottle feed your piglets? If so, what causes you to have to bottle feed them?
We don't bottle feed the piglets because we have a lot of mothers. And like I said, if there's a runt pig, I can put it on a mother that has milk. And so, but sometimes I might have to give the little runt pig a supplement, like a squirt of some B vitamins and protein to help it get some energy to get up and nurse.
All right. Did I miss any of the classes, Dan, across the top, any that have video? Did I miss inviting anyone forward to ask a question? I don't think
Not that I can tell, no.
The screen set up a little differently for me, so I didn't want to leave anybody out. We do have a couple more questions coming in via the chat. One of both from General Rosecrans. One of them says, "Where does the father live?"
The father lives in another barn, and so he's not with the piglets because the piglets only need their mother to nurse from while they grow.
And then they grow so quickly, they go in a pen by themselves before very long because they drink milk and grow really fast.
Yes.
Are their tails always curly?
Yes, when they're born, their tails are curly. Some of them are more curly than others, though. And a lot of times they'll wag back and forth when they're getting their milk.
There's some questions about the dad pigs, and they live in a different barn because right now, you know, pigs are different than people, and they just need food and taken care of, and somebody brings the food and brings, you know, a lot of things to them once they get done with milk. So the dads are in a different barn. So you guys have good questions coming in. Oh, here's a good one, Lauren. Do the piglets bite?
No, sometimes, well, like I said, you saw a couple of pigs that were fighting over the same nibble to get their lunch today. So sometimes they'll fight with each other or when they're playing. But otherwise, they're nice animals and they don't try to bite me.
We've got several questions here that were submitted from Cherry Valley Elementary, and we really appreciate this. So we'll run through a few of those, and then we will go ahead and wrap up. Why can't pigs sweat?
Yeah, that's the way that pigs are designed. They don't have sweat glands like we do to keep ourselves cool. And so that's why it's important to give them shade and a fan to make sure they don't overheat.
Here's a good one. Are pigs aggressive animals?
No, pigs are, like I said, when they're in a barn and they're comfortable, they're always calm and relaxed. I'd say the only time they'll stress out is if they're not comfortable. So right now you can see this mother is just laying down and chilling all day.
When piglets are born, do they open their eyes right away? Are they able to see at birth?
That's a good question. And yes, they will. As soon as they're born, they'll figure out what's going on and open their eyes and make their way around to their mother to nurse.
Do pigs roll in the mud to keep bugs off of them?
When my dad used to keep them outside, yeah, they would try to find mud to keep themselves cool, but now that the pigs are inside, they don't have to.
Here's a tough one. How big is the biggest pig on your farm? How much does it weigh?
The biggest pig would probably be one of the father pigs, and I would say he's at least 600 pounds.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
We've got questions about, do you feed your pig with a bottle? We've talked about that. What is your favorite part of being a farmer?
I would say my favorite part of being a farmer is being able to help my dad and know that these piglets are getting the best care. Whenever I'm not on the farm, I worry about them, and I just want to spend my day making sure that they're all getting enough milk and that they grow. And when they're all big and go to the other farmer, I feel like I did a good job.
Great. One of the questions is, how do you know mother pigs are pregnant? Do you guys use an ultrasound?
Yeah. Yes, well, we don't have an ultrasound to where you can see the piglets inside the mother, but we have a pregnancy checker, and when we put it up to the mother's belly, it'll make a long beep if she's pregnant, and it'll make short beeps if she's not. And so that way we know whether she's pregnant or not.
Neat. Here's a funny one. How do you teach pigs to do tricks? Or maybe the better question is, do you teach pigs to do tricks?
Well, I used to teach pigs how to do things like go to their barn or walk a certain way when I was showing them for the fair when I was younger. So if any of you get to go to the county fair and see pigs, a lot of times they're trained. But now, since I just have so many piglets, I don't have to teach them all to do tricks. I wish I had more time to, but I don't.
And here we'll end with a funny one. We appreciate everybody's attention. We'll wrap up with this one. Why do people say you're eating like a pig when pigs don't even make a mess when they eat? And somebody made a very smart observation with that, didn't they?
Yeah, that's a really good question. But I would say a lot of times people say you're eating like a pig if you eat a lot of food, because pigs do need a lot of food, especially these mothers. And then when the piglets go to the other farmer, they'll eat a lot of food, and that's why they grow so fast.
Great. Do you have anything else you want to share, Lauren? We tried to get to as many questions as we could. I know we've missed some in the chat and in the email, but we don't want to lose anybody's attention either. So is there anything else you want to share?
I guess I'd like to share that so you can see how comfortable the piglets are, and just know that we work really hard to make sure we're giving the best care to our animals and we care about them. We have a veterinarian that comes to the farm all the time to check on our pigs. So we're not taking care of them alone. We make sure we take his word for how to take care of the animals and keep them healthy. And so that way they can go on to feed people all around the world. And pork is very healthy, bacon is very good, and so I hope you enjoy it and that you know that we care about the piglets and that they're being taken care of good on the farm.
Well, thank you, Lauren, for what you're sharing. I know a lot of times we'll get questions like, how do we know that we're getting pork from a farm like yours? And the answer is there's a lot of families like Lauren's across Ohio that raise pigs. And when you buy pork at the grocery store, you support families like Lauren and many others. So
Yes.
You don't know exactly that it came from Lauren's, but if you buy it at the grocery store, you know you're supporting family farms.
Yes.
98% of farms are owned by families, I guess. That's what I was trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing, Lauren. And thank you so much to all of the students and classes. We hope you've learned some good things. Let's give Lauren a round of applause, right? She did a great job.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.